Match preview, West Ham versus Bournemouth in the Premier League, and a chance to get away from the excitement or lack of the transfer window. As you know, it's a return to action, and it's one that we need to win. Big game for West Ham, considering the other results, of course, with Brighton losing to Luton, which was a real turn up for the books. It presents a really big opportunity, actually, for West Ham to create a big gap now between the chasing pack behind us for European football next season. And look, although it's a little bit of a drab end, possibly, it's looking that way, isn't it, to the January transfer window for West Ham. Look, we have brought in Kalvin Phillips. And, of course, there's so much to look forward to this season. We've got in the top 6 of the Premier League, a lot to chase there, a lot to fight for. And, of course, then we've got the Europa League as well, kicking back off in March. So it's a lot to actually be excited about as well, although it is, it's testing, isn't it? And considering the fact that it looks like we're going to be doing hardly any, we're probably no more business at all this window, in terms of bringing players in at least anyway. Look, before we get into this though, I want to talk about the channel, because we are basically, half of you watching this probably aren't subscribers. That's basically what our stats show us. So if you're not a subscriber, just please click on the subscribe button, because it does help the channel out. And also you enter then our competition to win a West Ham top. We give away one every month. We're doing so for the whole season. So it's free to do so. So why not? Let's talk about Bournemouth first. A side really that I was quite surprised about in terms of what they did in the summer. They stayed up last season, if you recall, under Gary O'Neill. They were dead cert to go down. They were absolutely dead cert to go down at one stage of the season. They really did struggle. And you have to say, Gary O'Neill turned it around for them, got them playing, and got them organised and working hard. And by the end of the season, they weren't even... It was accepted they were staying up for quite a period. He did a remarkable job. So the fact they decided to replace him with Arola was an unbelievable decision, really, and one that sort of shocked football. I think people were going, well, why would you do that? Why would you get rid of a manager that's just kept you up? But I'll tell you what it did do. It showed a club that showed a bit of ambition, a bit of balls, something that West Ham fans, or certainly a fair few West Ham fans, want to see from our club, Take that sort of gamble, so that we want to push on. Because let's be honest, Gary O'Neill would have pretty much guaranteed them Premier League safety this season. He's doing a fine job at the moment at Wolves. So, and fair play to him. I've got a lot of respect for Gary O'Neill. But I like the fact that Bournemouth, in a way, have gone, do you know what? We want more. We want a little bit different. They want to change their identity. They want to change the blueprint of the club and what they're trying to achieve in the Premier League. And you have to say, well, fair play. It really is quite an ambitious and bold move from the ownership and the club. I mean, I personally have got a real soft spot for Bournemouth, because my missus is from there. I met her, that's where I met her, and I spent pretty much every weekend going from London to Bournemouth and vice versa. Friday nights on the train down there, and vice versa on a Monday morning. So I know Bournemouth really well, and I know what it means to them. But they've done really well. I've got to say, I think that the new manager's come in under a lot of pressure. I think people were expecting it to go flat. They started badly. If you remember, we got a comfortable win there on the first game of the season, which sort of set the tone for our season as well, didn't it? It got us up and running fast, which I think is so vital. But the fact is, they struggled the first few games. I thought they're in big trouble. They've taken a gamble. It might not pay off. But slowly but surely, you've just seen that things are starting to click. The team is starting to understand what he wants from them. And they play really decent football. And you've got to admire it. I really do admire it, because let's be honest, right? For the vast majority of Premier League clubs, apart from a handful, I'm sure that the top of their to-do list every season, that the things they must achieve, and the first one is stay in the Premier League, do not get relegated. So for a club like Bournemouth to then have a manager that pretty much guaranteed them Premier League safety, and they've gone, yeah, fine, but we're going to move on. We're going to take a risk here. We want to play some different style of football. We want to start trying and go in a different direction. I think it says a lot. It really does. And you've got to admire it. Really, you've got to admire it. And I know there will certainly be a lot of West Ham fans thinking, I wish our club owners were like that, and take that bit of a gamble. Because like David Moyes, you kind of get the feeling it's a safe pair of hands. And look, he's done very well for West Ham, of course, but there's obviously that feeling of that, if we were to take that punt and go elsewhere and getting a manager that could play maybe a bit more expansive, exciting football, where could he take the club? So look, it is what it is. And Bournemouth have done it. And look, there's a long way to go when you look at Bournemouth. I think, to be honest, if I'm a Bournemouth fan, I'll be thinking, look, as long as we don't flirt with relegation this season, let's just stay in the Premier League, mid-table. I think they'd be more than happy with that. And hopefully have a good, decent cup run. I'm sure they'll be looking at that too. But they're a club, I imagine they look at the likes of Brentford, they look at clubs like Brighton, they look at these clubs and think, we could do that. We could start becoming that sort of team that's just pulling away from that sort of fodder of the relegation mob and then starting to fight in mid-table with a view of them maybe trying to get a European spot at some stage. So they're ambitious and they've got a young side and I really like them, enjoy watching them. And nothing but good things to say about Bournemouth, really. I think they've been a real surprise this season because I didn't think this was going to happen. The first game of the season, I thought we won there pretty comfortably. And to think that they're now coming to our place and they're not going to get relegated, are they? Let's be honest, they're not a team you'd have in any sort of relegation discussions with anybody else and think, Bournemouth could be dragged into it. I just don't think they will. They look decent. They're doing very well and they're looking up. And fair play to them. A couple of players I like at the club, and they've got a fair few actually. Dominic Solanke has to be the one that sort of stands out. I mean, really impressive. He's sort of emerging now as that player that he was supposed to be. You feel, he had that earlier stint at Liverpool, and has gone on to sort of try and establish himself as a Premier League player. And it's taken him a while, but I don't know, you just feel now he's in that groove. He's starting to look at that more of the part. And, top strikers in this league are really hard to come by. And Solanke's starting to emerge now as that player. And obviously top clubs are looking at him. West Ham being one, we're a club that's certainly looking at him. And I know that we did make a bid, didn't we, in the summer? I think it was around about 30, 40 million for him when I think they wanted 60. I mean, he's going to be worth more than that now, the way the season's going. And I think with those sort of players, I think you get one shot at getting them. And I think that chance has probably gone for West Ham now. I think you're looking for him now. You're looking 70, 80, probably in that realm. That's probably where they're going to be looking if they're going to offload him. So, and bigger clubs are going to be starting to sniff around, you imagine. So, good luck to him. Look, they're a good player, and I'm sure they want to retain him. And to do so, they're going to have to try and have a good push and finish maybe in the top half of the season, the top half of the table this season. But it is hard. Let's be frank. This Premier League. The Premier League is getting more and more competitive. It's very, very tough. There's so many teams vying for those European places now that, for the likes of Bournemouth to muscle in, they're going to have a very, very good season. I don't think it's going to happen this time round. I think they can accept that, but I don't think they'd be too fussed about that. But I think next season, if that's their aim, they're going to need to really kick on in terms of their recruitment. And I'm sure they will want to. I'm sure that their owners, they're ambitious, and I'm sure they want to take the club forward and try and do that. So, no, I've got nothing but good things to say about Bournemouth. And I think West Ham are in for a tough game. Let's talk about West Ham. I mean, as I've said, this is a really big game. The results and the way the table's shaping up at the moment with our game in hand over teams below us means that we can create a big gap. In fact, we can create a 6-point gap between us and Manchester United and Brighton, and 7 points between us and Chelsea, possibly. So, look, this is a great opportunity. Bournemouth at home, you've got to feel are winnable fixtures for us. If we want to be contending for those sort of top 6, top 5 positions, we've got to win these games. And I'm going to it with a fair bit of confidence, actually. I'll come up with a prediction in a bit. Of course, I want you to do the same. I want you to give me your prediction. If your prediction is correct, right, you go into a draw, and then it's free to do so, of course. And then if you win that draw, then you win a prize from our shop. So you might as well do it. I'll just add it to the comments and also like the video as well, please. So look, as I say, big opportunity for West Ham. We've got 17 games to go this season. Still a long way to go, but the way that we're shaping up, the way that, if we can get a decent run going and just start, as I say, this is a big game for us. If we can set the right tone, just go out there, get the 3 points, you get the feeling that we could really put a serious case, a push for this sort of top 6, top 5 this season. We can do it. And these are games we've got to win. So, and of course, we've got the Europa League as well coming up. There's a lot to be fighting for, but this is a big game. I mean, I've got to be honest. I think West Ham needs to be having that sort of Champions League ambition. I think we should. I'm not saying we can do it. I know people sort of laugh it off. Don't be ridiculous. But why not? Why can't we look at that? I mean, we're not a million miles away here. And I think we need to have that ambition. We should be thinking like that. That should be our mindset. Let's talk about the team news though for this game. You've got Soufal and Ben Rama are suspended. I mean, Ben Rama looks like he's played his last game for the club. It looks like he will be going to Lyon on loan with the obligation to buy, it appears at the moment. That's the sort of latest we're hearing at this stage, which I think is the right move, to be honest. I think for the player and the club, I think his time is now up. As I say, Soufal's suspended anyway from his red card in the previous game. So, and also we've got Noah Gerd. Noah Gerd, of course, Morocco are out of the Africa Cup of Nations and he will be coming back early, thank God. I'm not saying thank God. I mean, he's not really been overall most reliable player for West Ham, but it's good to have our team back. We need numbers. We have struggled recently. It's felt very thin, isn't it, the last few weeks? So it's nice to start seeing some bodies come back. And of course, we've got our new shiny player in Kalvin Phillips, who hopefully should be making his debut. I think that is the case. I mean, David Moyes has been a bit coy, as he usually is in the press conference. He was basically saying that not sure if he's quite ready yet and all that. The typical Moyes stuff, but my gut feeling is that we will be seeing Kalvin Phillips play. And of course, we've got Mohamed Kudus back. I mean, what a boost that is. I mean, unbelievable. I mean, that for me makes the big difference for me. That my confidence levels rise massively when I know that Kudus is available for West Ham. And Edson Alvarez as well, fit. He's been training and he will be playing. So it's... I feel a lot more confident all of a sudden. I feel like you look at the team now and think, yeah, this is a team that can actually do some things and get some decent results. And it's got to start against Bournemouth. It has to. This is a big, big game. Great opportunity for the club. And this is my team. So I'm going to give my team. I'd like you to do the same. As I say, if you're not going to do your team, you don't have to just put your prediction in. But if you'd like to give your team, it's always, I think, good to see what other people are thinking. To be honest, I'd be quite surprised if it differs too much from mine, because I feel like this was quite easy, this one, because knowing the players that are available. So I've gone for this. I've gone for Areola in goal. Ben Johnson at right back, of course, because of Soufal being suspended. To be honest with you, though, I'm actually really fine with the fact that Johnson's playing anyway. I think he's been really good. I want him to sign a new deal. He needs to be playing. He really does. And I think that it's important that he does play. And hopefully, I think if he plays well in this game, I think it's going to be difficult for Soufal to get his shirt back straight away. I really do. I don't think he can then be dropped, because he's been that good since he's been called upon of late. So... Big game for Johnson, actually. If it's a good opportunity for him, if he can come in and put in a very good performance, then what can Moyes do? He can't then drop him, in my opinion, anyway. So I've got Areola, Johnson, Mavropanos and Zuma as my two centre-backs, only because Gerd is not available at the moment. He is coming back, but he should be back for the Manchester United game. Emerson at left-back, of course. I mean, how under the radar is that player? I mean, my word, no one talks about him. No one. I was talking to the other day about it to an Arsenal fan, and talking about it and mentioned Emerson, and it's almost like he was quite surprised. Really, I was like, mate, he's like one of the best left backs in this country. Like, he's been amazing for West Ham this season, and I like that. I like that he's flying under the radar. Actually, he's been that good. It's he really has been excellent for West Ham this season. Definitely a contender for Ham of the Year. Yes, that's my back line. Johnson, Mavropanos, Zuma and Emerson. My midfield are, I'm going for Edson Alvarez and Kalvin Phillips as my two midfielders, sort of defensive midfielder roles. Obviously, Alvarez playing slightly deeper. Phillips going a little bit ahead of him, and then you've got James Ward-Prowse ahead of them, but them both as well, which I think he'd be good for the distribution. Out on the right, I want Mohamed Kudus. Left, I put Maxwell Cornet, who, I mean, he needs to be played now. I think this could, the sale of Benrahma could be the chance that Cornet's needed at West Ham, that finally to be given that opportunity to prove himself and to really get a decent run of games now. And maybe we'll start seeing the player that we signed and we're looking forward to seeing. So, yeah, I've gone for Kudus, Cornet on the left and Jarrod Bowen up front. Yeah, really look forward to seeing your team, actually. I found that quite straightforward to do, to be honest. I did. Usually it takes me a little bit of time. I sort of really consider it. But that one, I just felt like, yeah, they're playing. So it'd be interesting to see what anyone else has got to say. I've seen some concerns about what David Moyes will do. Obviously, some of them are thinking, well, I'll tell you what, he might put Alvarez as centre-back. He might then keep Souček and Phillips in there. He might even play Phillips out on the... he might play James Ward-Prowse, out on the left and to keep Souček on. I don't know, but I've dropped Souček for this. I think that's the best team. Personally, I mean, Thomas is still a good player, will be useful, and especially coming off the bench and causing teams problems. But no, we need to play the best team, and that is the one. That is the one for me. I'm going to go 3-1 West Ham in this game. I'm pretty confident, and I've done this before. The last time I said this, we lost. No, it wasn't. Wasn't it? No, it was against Bristol City when I said we'd win. Anyway, yeah, my predictions haven't been great, but this one I do feel pretty confident about. I think having Kudus back, I think Alvarez back, Phillips making his debut, I think it's got the hallmarks of a decent performance. I think that the crowd are going to be right up for it. It's under the floodlights and it's a big game. We know what's at stake here. If West Ham can go out there and get the 3 points, then my word, we are in a really strong position.